Hi, this is Suchi, and in our today's video, we will talk about functions. So, first of all, let me tell you what is function. Function is nothing but small chunks of code that is used for performing a particular task. So, generally, what happens? Why we use functions to decompose our code? Maybe we are writing a complex logic, complex program, and in that program we are using the same chunks of codes in multiple places. So if we put it as a function, we do not need to write the same code over and over again. We can just use the function name to perform that particular task, which combines a set of instructions. Now, how we can write a function in Python? So that is very simple. We just need to use this keyword def, and we can give a function name, whatever we want to. Let's say add. So we are writing a function to add two numbers. So let me have this name, add numbers. And then we have to use this brackets here. Now, what's next? That is the colon. So this is the syntax for a function, and a functional block will again have the statements here. So let me add a print statement here. So this has become a function now. If we run this cell, now we can just use this name, this function name with this bracket here. It will call the function. So this is defining a function. And this is calling a function. So if we run this cell, you can see this function has been called, and whatever statement is included inside this function has been executed. We can have multiple statements over here. We can have multiple statements over here, and we can see all of them are running. All of them are getting executed when we call the function. So this is how we can define a function and we can call a function. Now, what if we want to pass some parameters to this function? So here, as you see, we are adding numbers. So we may want to pass some parameters to it, pass the numbers to it, and we want it to add those numbers. So how we can do that? So function parameters. We can just have some parameter name here, maybe first number and the second number. And this will print the addition of them. So let me just add them. We can also do one more thing where we can have result, some other variable. I am assigning the addition, the result of the addition in this new variable, and then this new variable I am just going to print here. So this is what our function will do. It will take two numbers and it will print the result of addition. So let us run this cell and let us call this function. So what we can do, we can just pass the numbers here. We can pass variables as well. Let me just run this. Okay. Here you can see the addition of these two numbers are being printed. We can even pass variables here. So I can add the variables and add the values. And here I can pass these two variables. So here you can see this is working fine with variables as well. So this is how we can pass parameters in a function, and we can use those parameters, and we can call the function with parameters like this. Now, what if we don't want to print this result here? We want this result to be returned from this function. So how we can do that? So we just need, instead of printing, we want to return it. So we just need to use the return keyword. If we use return keyword, we can return any variable from the function. So here, this is the result and I am returning the result. So this function will return this variable. Now, before running this, let me show you what the function was returning previously. So if we try to add a assignment statement here, and we print this assignment statement, we print this R, where we are assigning the return value of this function, we can see there is none. So as this function was not having any return statement, it was returning none. But now, after we will run this, it will return the result. So let me just assign this into a variable. And you can see here, if we run this, it is not printing anything because we do not have any print statement here. But if we print R, you can see the result is being printed. So now R is holding the value of this result, which has been returned from this function. So this is how we can return any value from the function. Now, here we are having a limitation that we are adding numbers, and we are only able to add two numbers here because we have defined the function with two variables. But what if I want to get the result even if I pass 3, 4, 5, any number of parameters? Or let's say if I want to add 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, then what will happen? So if I run this, it will not work because it only takes 2 positional arguments, but 5 were given. But how we can achieve this? That we want any number of variables to be passed as parameter, any number of parameters to be passed to this function, and it should work correctly. It should work perfectly. How we can do that? So there is one concept in Python, which is variable number of arguments we can pass. So how we can do that? Let us just define the same function again. And if we just use a star here, star, and then any variable name, let's say nums. And if we just print it here, you can see that this nums is going to become a tuple. So just let me run this cell. Now what we can do is, now we can pass any number of parameters to this add numbers. So if I just call this function with any number of parameters, it will take all of them as a tuple. So now we are having it as a tuple. So we can simply add all of them. So here you can see any number of variables are coming. We have a inbuilt function which is sum. So we can simply sum them all and we can print it. Even we can return it similarly as we have done previously also. So we can return the sum of all these variables. And we can just assign it to some other variable. We can have any number of variable over here. So here you can see we are getting the result as expected. So this is how we can have variable number of arguments in the function. We will discuss more on function in our next video. So till then, keep learning, keep implementing. Thank you for watching this video.